What is the most obvious lie you have ever been told? We cannot give you a raise right now, but we will compensate you as soon as the budget allows. Turns out when the budget allows is when you already have another job offer and put in your 2 weeks notice. How convenient. Well, we just so happen to already have a raise of how much more you said the other company offered planned for you. We were going to give you the good news this evening. In high school a buddy told me that he didn't steal our other buddy's watch. He was wearing the watch when I asked him about it. Long-term borrowing. He'll give it back, some say, I'm sure. Some might say so, but I'm not one of them. Your call is important to us. Or, we are experiencing unprecedented call volume at this time. A representative will be with you shortly, and we have always been at war with East Asia. The company is in a great shape, so don't pay any attention to rumors about financial trouble. My boss, who still has about 3 execs above him, tells me that this is the first company he's ever worked for that has enough money in the bank for all the employees to not work an hour, and they could still pay our wages for 6 months at least. We have like 60 high-end employees. What he doesn't remember is that I was app for a solid 9 months when my position got slow. There is no way we have that in the bank. Lol. Why don't they understand that the truth is nicer than falsehood? They're worried employees will jump ship to a competitor that seems more stable. I was picking up a sofa from a guy I found on Kijiji, and he stopped me right before leaving to see if I wanted to buy a mirror he was also looking to get rid of. I wasn't really interested, but my wife seemed keen, so we stopped in the hallway to check it out. He said it was a gift from my son-in-law. It's a beautiful mid-century antique. I'll let it go for $75. He went on about what an amazing mirror it was, and even told me pick it up and feel how sturdy it is. I picked it up. It was really heavy actually, and took a peek at the back and saw a sticker from Value Village with a $30 price tag. I kinda chuckled to myself and asked if he would go any lower than $75. He said I really couldn't. Then I said, well, I can see a tag from Value Village on the back here. We ended up getting the mid-century antique mirror for $15 a me, and my wife still laugh about the amazing deal we got on it. Reminds her of when I did custom framing for a retail store and the woman came in with a painted piece she wanted reframed. She went on how it was very valuable, and how I better be careful. Her great-grandmother painted it, you know. It's the last painting she has by her. I'm 90% sure she was planning on complaining, no matter how carefully we reframed it, so that she could say we damaged her priceless artwork and get the frame for free. When I peeled back the backing paper to take it out of the frame, there was still a faded clearance $14.99 tag on the back. Mayo woman looked like she bit into a lemon. Ah yes, the joys of custom framing in a big box store. This sounds just like the clients I had coming into the Michaels store I worked at after college. We are not playing favorites. Was told I needed to buy my own car as a teen and I did. Following year my baby bro was given a free car. He's 15 MOs younger, is now 56, still living at home. Ugh. My sister had her car and college pretty much paid for. I was basically told to kick rocks. We will keep your resume on hand and let you know if any other positions open up. As a recent graduate job searching, it hurts. Job recruiters are such peens about the whole process. I went in to interview for a job and they paraded me around their different locations for 3 months and ghosted me. Crap hurts. Numerous other employers don't ever respond. I appreciate the frick out of companies that will at least tell me when they decide not to move forward with me as a candidate. But of course, I have to be available for an interview in 2 days because I can't be busy, right? A while back I had a company email me saying I had 8 hours to send back a 10-minute video interview requiring both directly answering questions into the camera and presenting a PowerPoint with voiceover. Busted my ass recording and editing that freaking thing. Emailed it. No response whatsoever. I was mad. As a tax accountant, I'm told lies about how much money people actually made all the time during tax season. My favorite was a guy telling me he's broke because he only makes $35,000 a year in New York City, so my very reasonable fee is too much for him. He says this after he asks me if he can deduct the new BMW 5 Series he just bought his son all cash. It isn't just the lie, but the added insult of such a bad lie told to one's face that is so galling. Had another client last week tell me he doesn't have any money to live cause of the pandemic. He bought a $750,000 condo in Greece as a vacation home a couple months ago. It's like these people forget that our job is literally to track what they do with their money. That's not a hickey, I bruised my neck helping my sister move today. Thank you for the awards. Can't believe my top comment is about my crappy XLMAO. I told my mom I got it from football practice. She asked why my teammates were giving me high keys. Your mother is a gem. Yeah, I did all my homework in like 5 minutes, I promise. Holy crap, this comment blew up. Thanks lol. Oh, I sent you my homework via email. I must have made a typo in your address. That's a rookie way. Create a batch file that brings up a corrupt file error. Send them that. Then you get more time to finish the project while they send an email back saying the file was corrupted. You can tell them I'll resend it when I get home. When my little brother mixed like 50 condiments, including sprinkles, ketchup, cereal and stuff, into a bag of popcorn and ate it telling us it was delicious when his face looked like he'd just ate 10 extremely sour warheads at once. He later admitted he just wanted us to eat it, but we never did. One time my little brother tried to make me a sandwich just to be nice, but said sandwich was just chocolate chips cookies covered in mustard between 2 pieces of bread. He clearly wanted to see how I'd react, and I of course refused to eat it. He told our mom I was being rude, and the worst part was, after she actually saw the sandwich she still said I was supposed to humor him. I just threw it away and told both no. Wow, your mom was in on it too lol. I can finish this 104 game tonight. One does not simply finish a 104 game. I don't think I've finished a Civ game in over a year and I play it every other day. By turn 80, 100 I start obsessing over some tiny minor mistake I made, and I exit to main menu and restart with random Civ, random map. Does it count if the person believed me because I told someone the world was in black and white until the first nuclear explosions? Yes, nothing like a bit of radiation to bring color to the world. That's how it works. When a coworker told my own story back to me as his own, twice. I had a friend do this once. He was hanging out with a large group of my friends that he hardly knew, and my best friend, still my best friend to love that friker, just went, wow, it's so crazy you had but him the exact same childhood story that Jason has told us all before, right down to the small town in Kansas where it happened, and the color drained straight out of his face. Didn't say a word to me for like 3 days. Dude turned out to be a pathological liar on many levels. Very strange to think how I spent 4 years of high school with someone lying straight to my face constantly and didn't realize it until that moment. Wow, that's crazy. Reminds me of the time I had a friend do this once. He was hanging out with a large group of my friends that he hardly knew, and my best friend, still my best friend to love that friker, just went, wow, it's so crazy you had but him the exact same childhood story that Jason has told us all before, right down to the small town in Kansas where it happened, and the color drained straight out of his face. Didn't say a word to me for like 3 days. Dude turned out to be a pathological liar on many levels. Very strange to think how I spent 4 years of high school with someone lying straight to my face constantly and didn't realize it until that moment. I did brush my teeth, I swear. This toothbrush, bone dry. So we agree that this is your toothbrush? Loyalty to a company would be repaid. Being a millennial. Why should we have loyalty to a company that thinks of us as expendable? My little girl told everyone in the supermarket that our cat died and she was sad. We don't own a cat. Well, not anymore. Now we have a smelly cat carcass. Any lieutenant saying that the platoon can go home early on a Friday if you work hard right now. Just about anything a lieutenant says should be run by the captain first. Unless the lieutenant says, I don't know, in which case he's probably right and is probably prior enlisted as well. My ex told me he was in a car accident, totaled his car, broke a few ribs. He was trying to get sympathy so I would get back together with him. Blaming the accident on me since he was distracted after the breakup. He sent me a photo of his car smashed in. I Google searched it. First pic of his make/model that was wrecked. He formulated the story after the picture. But here's the deal. The wheels didn't match. So I drove by his house that evening. Car was fixed and in his driveway. Oh yes, I paid the shop extra to get me in today. So I could have my car to come see you if you wanted me to. Haha bro. An ex of mine picked up gig work out of state. He tried to tell me that a gang of guys attacked him with crowbars and 2x4s 2 nights before. Said he had broken his nose, shattered the bones around his eye, broken ribs, etc. I called his bluff. He sent me pictures of him wearing a neck brace and ace bandage around his chest. I commented, your face looks fine. You don't have a bruise on you. Putting on a bandage and brace you bought at Walgreens isn't gonna sell it. He snaps back, I don't bruise naturally, and plastic surgeons fixed my face. He sang a different tune later, when he fell down a flight of stairs and actually injured himself. I didn't give him sympathy then either. As someone who's seen someone fresh out of having an operation to fix their face by a plastic surgeon, you look like someone hit you in the face with 2x4s and that's just the surgery. A childhood friend and I met up for coffee one day after not meeting for a few years. He casually let it slip that ever since he earned a black belt he has had to register with the state as a human weapon. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight. I accidentally kill you. I go to jail. Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter. What a great line from a great movie. I never said you had to sign the document if it wasn't true, says the person with 3 mls telling me to sign a document even after I said it wasn't true sitting on her outbox. I was given a blank lease from a realtor and he told me to sign it. Nope. By blank I meant a standard Ontario lease with nothing filled in. Had the same conversation with unscrupulous tow company. I'd just been in a major wreck and while pulling items out of the car I knew I'd never see again. They handed me a blank form to sign. Don't worry, we will fill in the details afterwards. Frick off. I'm sure it worked plenty of times, considering they were targeting people in moments of vulnerability. I speak French, though I'm losing it from lack of use. But one of my college guy friends started dating a girl from France. He was all excited because she could talk to me in her native language and I could help translate. So he brought her to a party at my sorority house and introduced us. I greeted her in French with a very simple bonjour, bienvenue, comment cava which is just hi, welcome, how are you? Blank stare and red face in response. She then said, in what I thought was a kind of strange accent, that she's sorry, she didn't understand me. I looked at the guy and said I thought you told me she was French, because maybe she was a different nationality, and he was confused. He looked at her and she just turned and left. He followed then, returned a bit later, and said he had caught up to her and she started screaming at him in perfect Midwestern accented English that he was a jerk for setting her up to look like a fool. He had genuinely been excited that he could introduce her to someone she could talk to, so he was blown away by her accusations and then angry that she lied. She apparently felt faking an accent would make her more appealing or something. I would see her around on campus after that, but she avoided me like the plague. TBH, I felt bad for her, but if you're going to fake it, at least pick a country with a language you can speak. Too bad she avoided you afterwards. Would have been the cherry on top if you always greeted her with bonjour and a crap-eating grin if you had met occasionally. Buongiorno. My friend told me that getting a Peloton changed her life. I looked up her workout stats and she had used it 4 times in 5 months of owning it. Her husband fared a little better with using it 9 times. Don't know why this annoyed me so much. Being able to tell people she owns a Peloton changed her life. Using it would be overkill. Real talk, my roommate got the Peloton right at the start of the pandemic. He went from 370 pounds to 190 in about 8 months. He combined Peloton rides with intermittent fasting. I watched him sweat the pounds away. Also the instructor has nice boobies. My coworker once tried to convince me that centaurs exist. She said they lived in a gated community in Hollywood and did all the horse stunts for movies. Did we both know it was a lie? Yes. Did she ever admit it was? No, and I admire that about her. WTF, this is so out there lol. That's why it's probably true. My friend said he had a body count of 200 plus. He was a slightly fat guy who spends all his free time on video games and hates to leave his apartment. I mean, he never said he was talking about 6. Have you been in his basement? Trillions of potential lives ended in his socks alone. The cat scratched me. You literally don't own a cat though. My fork fell onto my arms then. IDK. I woke up on my blanket and it left these marks on my arm. I swear. So there's a needle hanging off your skin. An ex-housemate was the most chronic liar I've ever met. She was also a total nutjob who stole from all the housemates and from her workplace and keyed my car, but here are some of her most memorable lies. Her dad was the ex-CEO of the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. She was having an affair with one of the shift managers at the bar we worked at. He was engaged to someone else. The venue manager tried to sexually assault her. Security from our work knew about it, but kept it quiet at her request. She pointed at a wedding ad on a bus, couldn't see the model's face, and said the model was her. There was a car accident in the area that killed several teenagers. She claimed that she was with them that night, but got out of the car just before the accident. That she could do a bond clean by herself, the clean to get your rental deposit back. Yeah, we had to go back and do it. She didn't do anything. That her dad was verbally abusive. Her sister said he never was. She had her license to be a shift manager, was a legal QLD requirement at the time in liquor venues, but she didn't want to tell our workplace cause they would promote her, and she didn't want that responsibility. Ha. I had an ex-roommate once tell me the tragic story of how there was a gas leak in her extended family's old bunker, and when the younger kids flipped the light switch it blew up and killed them all. I said, wow, that's crazy. I didn't know we were related. She said, what do you mean? Coincidentally, she didn't know that it was actually my family's bunker, and my family members that freaking died. I had just never talked about it for obvious reasons. She was also a pathological liar. WTF. What an obscure morbid lie, and what a astronomical coincidence that it happened to be your story. It wasn't me. Honey came in, and she caught me red-handed, creeping with the girl next door. Picture this, we were both but naked banging on the bathroom floor. You're the best I've ever had. She was just trying to get you to stop crying. My mom, after 11-year-old me, accidentally destroyed her favorite vase by throwing my brother's stuffed animals around the living room. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Oh, that hurts more. I love you. After I found out I was being cheated on, she had the audacity to kiss me too. Lumfu, same thing happened to me too, except I got the I want to spend my whole life with you too BS. Sorry brother, it gets better. You don't need someone like that in your life. Yup, she even sent me letters when her phone got taken away. All the after this is all over we'll be together again BS. She ended up telling me over FaceTime she was freaking someone else. Everyone is always freaking someone else. Used to have a friend that spewed bullcrap all the time. Told me her bio parents, who lived together, were divorced and seeing other people, and also that she had 25 siblings. Brought it up to her mom one time, which was an interesting conversation. She also told us she had cancer, and then a week later it was miraculously cured. I have a family member who did the cancer thing. A cousin found out it was a lie, but the one that I'll never forget was when I introduced her to my friend who has lupus. I don't know how the topic came up about it, but she literally told my friend in front of me that she also had lupus. I immediately ended the conversation and left. I told my friend she was lying, and now we laugh about it, but seriously, no shame. Why do people do this? It is so freaking weird. I had a colleague who pretended to have cancer for months. She lied about her kid having deadly allergies, lied about her husband having a terminal illness. What is going through your mind? When I was a kid, the internet wasn't a thing, so my friends were whoever happened to live in the neighborhood. One kid was a well-known liar and exaggerator. We were maybe 14 years old at this time. This kid could play guitar and was always talking himself up about it and talking about his band. He actually could play, but his band did not exist. One day, I called him at his house, from my house. I don't remember what it was about, but a few minutes into the conversation, told me, by the way, I'm in Florida with my band, just out of the blue. This was before even pages were a common thing. I called him, at his house. I just said something like, okay, and ended the conversation. I then proceeded to tell all the other kids in the neighborhood. The ending of this is so perfect. My first watch was an Omega and I saved up on high school to get it. One of my good friends back then asked to wear it for one period and would give it back at lunch. He begged and begged, so as a HS kid I gave in, or couldn't keep saying no, I guess. Weak on me, obviously. Well, he smashed it, apparently smashed the glass to test it, gave it back, and said it was a fake and that's why the glass cracked, and said he didn't do it and it just fell apart. Asshole became a medical doctor and is now involved in politics and holds state office. I'm still mad about the watch he never admitted he broke cause he was salty and jealous. Pinhead then, pinhead now. My opponent borrows watches from their friends and then breaks them out of spite. Is this really who we want representing our interests in government? Political attack ad. Not on my watch. Just 5 more minutes on Reddit. Every time. It will all be over by Easter. Number when the weather gets warmer. If you tell me the truth, I won't be mad. IDK. This pretty much held for me as a kid. If I did something stupid or bad, as long as I came clean about it and took responsibility, I either didn't really get in trouble, or the punishment was always lighter than if I tried to lie about it. And that served me pretty well as an adult. More than once in college, and in my job, if I fricked up, getting out ahead of it, and owning it always led to a better outcome, and, if it didn't, at least I could respect myself for how I handled the issue. Imo, this was good parenting on your parents' part. If you do this, and then back out, you're just teaching the kid to lie instead of telling the truth, cause the lesson being taught is lie anyway, because even if you tell the truth you will get punished just as harshly. My brother told me I was a dragon and I totally believed him. Man, I was a dumb kid, but now I'm a dumb adult. At least you have your horde to comfort you. My horde is my Steam library and I can never freaking choose what to play. When my friend was an infant, her mother put a 2-year-old sibling in her crib while the mom left the room briefly. When mom came back, my friend was crying and had teeth marks on her forehead. When mom asked the older sibling what happened, she calmly said she bit herself. When I was a public defender, my dip crap client called up his victim from the jail phone the night before his trial. He said kill repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate her. When I was telling him how stupid this was, his excuse was that he was watching Kill Bill and someone changed the channel on the cell block communal TV. That dumbass is now doing 28 years in prison. Do you have any other funky stories of your time as a public defender? I feel like it's the place where you see the most crackheads when you're a lawyer. I see plenty of crackheads being legal counsel for my county board now. There's always at least one dumb boomer that thinks he's emperor of the universe because he's on the board. I'd send my legal opinions in writing telling them not to do dumb crap because it was illegal or a waste of money. Dumbass would put those on his personal website. The newspaper would quote my confidential memorandum showing how this idiot was voting to do some either outright illegal or stupidly waste taxpayer money. He did this repeatedly during his 2-year term. He didn't bother running for re-election. Citizens would show up to call him out at the meetings. It was like the Jerry Springer show, but with local politics.